Cleveland Classic Cinema. Tonight's movie is 1937's The Octopus, directed by William C. McGann. I saw this movie once. I was about 6 or so, and it was broadcast on Ghoulardi one time, and one time only, which was strange for that show, since they were in the habit of showing movies multiple times. I remember seeing From Hell It Came at least a dozen times while Ghoulardi was on the air. It seemed to me they showed it at least twice a month. I'm sure that's not true, but that's how I remember it. Like I said before, I only saw this movie once that I can remember, but there's one shot in it that I never forgot. The shot where the villain is revealed. It's still, to this day, a pretty amazing shot, even though I know how it was done. I'll explain that after the movie, but for now, just think about that for a minute. If you've seen this movie, and I sincerely doubt many of you have, you'll remember that scene when you see it. Since the runtime of this film is only 54 minutes, I'll be adding one or two things after it's over, so the show will run as close to 2 hours as possible. And I'll do intros for those as well, so stick around. Or more to the point, stay awake if you can. It'll be worth the wait, believe me. The Octopus is based on the stage play of the same name. I can't imagine this thing running for more than a few performances, and why it was adapted into a movie is completely beyond me. I know I'm always saying you should watch the movies on this show with the right set of eyes, but what the right eyes for this movie could be, I have no idea. There have been a number of movies and TV shows, for instance, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, that I remember really enjoying back in the day, and when I see them now, I am positively bewildered at how I found such scattershot idiocy funny. I know it's all a matter of the times and the topicality on display, but even with that knowledge, I'm still sitting there shaking my head in disbelief that this stuff was ever thought of as funny. This is a point where normally I'd explain the plot, but there is no plot in this movie. A bunch of people somehow end up in an abandoned lighthouse. There's a MacGuffin which involves a death ray, and there's a criminal mastermind known as the Octopus. There's also a real octopus which makes its presence known every so often. There are red herrings all over the place, and the denouement is completely unguessable since the plot doesn't make any sense to begin with. I imagine that could be looked upon as a good thing. Hugh Herbert was born on August 10, 1884 in Binghamton, New York. A playwright and stage actor, his persona was that of a somewhat befuddled guy who would flutter his fingers or tap his fingertips together like this while repeating single lines and going afterwards. He wrote over 150 plays and vaudeville sketches before moving to Hollywood, where he appeared in 111 movies, starting with 1927's Husbands for Rent, and became a star in the 30s working for Warner Brothers, portraying eccentric millionaires or slightly airheaded professors. Hugh Herbert died on March 12, 1952 in Hollywood, California. Alan Jenkins was born Alfred McGonigal on April 9, 1900 in Staten Island, New York. His parents were musical comedy performers, and he entered theater work as a stage mechanic after working in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. He specialized in playing rather thick-headed sidekicks, gangsters, taxi drivers, cops, or whatever else came up. He attended the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and appeared frequently on TV, usually in sitcoms. He appeared in 145 films and television shows in his long career, dying from complications following surgery on July 20th, 1974 in Santa Monica, California. As is by now obvious, there's not a lot I can tell you about The Octopus. It was considered a B-movie and is so obscure that information relating to it is practically impossible to find. Few people remember it, and even less have written anything about it. To tell you the truth, now that I think about it, I'm not even sure why I chose to show you this movie, other than its value as a curiosity. Well, there is that really neat reveal near the end, so, try to stay awake long enough to see it. So right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy The Octopus, right here on Cleveland Classic Cinema. I'll be back in about 50 minutes. Welcome back. Yeah, I know, you're a little pissed. If I were you, I would be too, but look at the bright side. I had to watch this 3 times. Now that you've seen the movie, you've seen the shot I referred to in the intro, the one where the villain is revealed. What you got to remember is that this movie was made before anyone even dreamt of CG, which someone actually asked me about when they saw that transformation. They thought it was morphed in some way. Here's how it was done. The makeup applied to that actress was red grease paint, done in various shades of intensity on her face and teeth. A red filter that gradually transformed to a green filter was placed over the camera lens. Since the film was shot in black and white, the red filter effectively made the makeup invisible to the film since it blocked that particular wavelength of light from the emulsion. The filter was then rotated, and the color of it changed gradually from red to green, which made the red makeup on the actress's face slowly appear and darken to the point that the film picked it up, and she turned from a crone into a hag. I believe this particular effect was used for the first time in the 1932 Frederick March version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This effect only works with black and white film, by the way. I'm not sure what it would do if it were shot in color and then desaturated, but I might try finding out sometime. Moving right along, let's get to our next presentation. A couple of weeks ago, I shared a few episodes of Our Gang with all of you, and since this show is running very short, I'm going to share another one with you tonight. The short we're showing is 1934's Shrimps for a Day. I'm sure everyone who watched Captain Penny back in the day will remember this particular short. The gang live at the Happy Home Orphanage, where kindness rules, which is run by their hatchet-faced Mr. Crutch, played by the excellent character actor Clarence Wilson, who I'm also sure was born looking 65 years old. The children are being taken to the home of Mr. Wade, the rich benefactor of the orphanage, for a garden party. Once at the party, we're introduced to Mary Wade, the daughter of the rich guy, and her boyfriend, Dick. Mary envies the children, in a nice way, of course, and she and Dick are pretty much the heroes here. And when one of the kids finds a lamp in the bushes and gives it to Mary, Mary wishes they were kids again. Of course, the lamp works, and Mary and Dick are transformed into children. These parts are played by George and Olive Brasno, a brother and sister team that worked in vaudeville and appeared in several films during the 30s, such as Charlie Chan at the Circus, and made a return appearance in the Our Gang short Arbor Day. Olive sings a song called the Ice Cream Song, which first appeared in the Charlie Chase short I'll Take Vanilla. Both George and Olive were offered parts in The Wizard of Oz, but turned them down since they were making more money in vaudeville. Clarence Hummel Wilson was born on November 17, 1876 in Cincinnati, Ohio. He began acting in 1895, appearing with a stock company in Philadelphia, and spent years touring the United States and Canada. He appeared on Broadway and moved into motion pictures in 1920. Because of his glowering looks, he inevitably played a bad guy. In his long career, he played mean judges, corrupt officials, snide coroners, cheap landlords, and just about every other tight-fisted SOB writers could come up with. His voice matched his on-screen personality, being high, whiny, and gruff all at the same time. Wilson appeared in nearly 200 films in his long career, playing hundreds of roles in movies and short subjects. He occasionally landed a major part, like the corrupt sheriff in 1931's The Front Page, an excellent movie, and as the father of heroine Helen Mack in 1933's Son of Kong, one of his few sympathetic roles. Wilson appeared in a number of Our Gang shorts, always as an adversary and never as a friend of the gang. He's best remembered, however, for his role in this short. Clarence Wilson died on October 5, 1941 in Los Angeles, California. There's not much more I can tell you about this short, so let's get on with it. Here's Our Gang in Shrimps for a Day. Stick around, I'll be back. Okay, I figure we have about 30 or so minutes left here, so let's see another short. I was going to put a Three Stooges in here, but somehow I lost the intro for it, so you get another Our Gang. This one is 1935's Beginner's Luck. Speaking from experiences, stage parents can be a real pain in the ass. I haven't had many run-ins with them, but the ones I have been miserable experiences. I look at these people and what they do, and I think, why are you doing this to your kid? You know, are you so desperate for glory and attention that you're willing to sacrifice their childhoods in pursuit of something you couldn't achieve yourself? I've seen people berate their children past the point of tears because they didn't measure up or screwed up some minor moment during an audition. And I just want to grab the parent in question and just shake them, you know, and scream at them, can't you see what you're doing to your child? They're just kids, for God's sake. Now, to be fair, there are two kinds of stage parents. There are the ones like I just talked about, and there are the other kind. The ones that support the dreams of their children as best they can. The ones who support and comfort their children when they fail in an audition or don't get a role they were hoping for. The ones that make sure their children have a childhood instead of just a career. Those ones have my sympathy and my support. The ones I give advice to when it comes to how they can get their, how they can help their kids get wherever they want to be. Whenever I meet someone who's considering getting their kid into modeling or just show business in general, I always tell them to think long and hard about what they're thinking about doing. Show business is hard and unforgiving, and it'll abandon you in a heartbeat without a backward glance. That's not even mentioning the number of absolute douchebags there are in this business. There are more sleazy slobs out there willing to use everything you have and stab you in the back in a second if it'll help them achieve their aims. And that's not even mentioning what a person, child or young adult, has to put themselves through to achieve that goal. William Goldman, one of the best screenwriters ever, said in his book Adventures in the Screen Trade something to this effect. I'm paraphrasing here. If you want to become a star, go right ahead. But know you have to devote every single waking moment to that pursuit, to the exclusion of everything else. Friends, family, lovers, everything. If you're willing to make that sacrifice, go ahead and good luck. I promise to stare at you when you pass on the street. Stars don't have friends. They have entourages. I can understand the appeal of all that stardom promises, but like everything else, there's another side of the coin. Along with all the money and adoration and the best seats in the restaurants, there's the eradication of privacy, stalkers, and the need to present the best face you possibly can at all times when you're in public, for fear of offending a fan or having some leech paparazzi snap a picture of you at your worst. There's a microscopic examination and speculation on every single thing you do by the media. And if you're really famous, it never stops. Look at the cover of any tabloid or fan rag the next time you're in a checkout line at the supermarket and think. I mean, really think about what it would be like to see your face plastered all over those covers. To see pictures of yourself in a bathing suit and seeing some idiot you'll never even meet judging the way you look at an unguarded moment. Now, there are some people who are able to take that in stride without a problem, but for every one of them there are dozens, probably hundreds, if not thousands, who crack under the pressure. They're usually the ones you see on the covers of tabloids. What's worse is the ones who never achieve that aim and end up either killing themselves or entering the sex worker industry. You know, this is beginning to turn into something I don't want it to turn into. I don't want to give you guys the idea that I think I'm some kind of star or important person. I most certainly am not. And I love meeting viewers. You know, I mean, you guys are the reason I do this. Well, you guys in the fact that I get paid for it. But even so, I really enjoy doing this, even when the movies suck. I was absolutely sure when the show started out it wouldn't last more than 6 months because I couldn't imagine anyone wanting to hear what I had to say about anything, much less movies. I have to thank my producer, Henry Picturna, for offering me this job and for recognizing in me something that I didn't even know I possessed. I don't mention Henry near enough, and the truth is that without this, that this show wouldn't exist without him. So, Henry, I thank you. We still have another short to show, don't we? I got off on this rant because Type A and Type B stage mothers are a big part of this. In his excellent book, Our Gang, The Life and Times of Little Rascals, Leonard Maltin speculated that perhaps this short grew out of the frustration Hal Roach and his people had to deal with all the time, although it's mostly a spoof of the amateur hour programs that were popular back in the 30s. These programs have experienced a resurgence just lately, with American Idol, So You Think You Can Dance, and America's Got Talent being the best, or the latest examples. This particular short opens with Spanky being forced to recite the village smithy by his mom, a Type B stage mom, in front of a group of her friends, even though it's obvious that he hates doing it. In the words of Leonard Maltin, Spanky's mother apparently seeks some kind of reflected glory by pushing her boy onto the stage. She enters him in a radio talent show, and he plans with the gang to ensure that he flops. While waiting to go on, he meets a little girl and her Type A stage mother. She wants to win so they can afford to buy the dress she's wearing for the show, but she's too scared to perform. Instead of berating her when she fails, her mother holds and comforts her after the embarrassing experience she has. Spanky shows what a stand-up kid he is when he decides against losing the show in order to win the prize money and give it to the little girl. The gang has other plans, however. This is a great short, one that anyone who's ever seen it will remember vividly. Keep your eyes open and look for James C. Morton as the piano player and Mae Wallace, who played the mom in Love Business, as Spanky's down-to-earth grandmother. Both of them do a terrific job and deliver some great laughs. So right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy Our Gang in Beginner's Luck, right here on Cleveland Classic Cinema. Well, that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching, and come back again soon. I'll be here with a new movie and new stuff to tell you about it. Or I'll be here in a repeat. Probably the Beast Yucca Flats. Good night.